Doug White down here in Alabama. Peace and love to everybody, friends and enemies. I don't know what I want to talk about today. I thought about telling little life stories. One time I was in a meeting, and well, he called himself a preacher, and other people called him preacher. But I was at this meeting one time, and the one that was scheduled to preach got up and said, he came into the, you know how you mill around right before the service or the meeting. He comes up, and there's a couple of us standing over in the corner talking. He's talking, and his wife is at the hospital at the point of death, and she died the next day after this, or real close behind it after this happened. This was on a Sunday, and we were talking about our concern and talking, giving our sympathies, about the lady that was the sister that was sick, and the man comes up to us. It's his wife, been married to her for 60 years, I think. He comes up and says, and one of the brethren over there said, I thought you'd be at the hospital this morning. And because his wife was at the point of death, so. And he says, no, I don't bury the dead on the Lord's Day. That's what he said. I don't bury the dead on the Lord's Day. Wow. I knew that I'd be over at that hospital where I'd be. So I don't know, that's him. But I'd be at the hospital, and I'd be there next to my wife. Of course, I've been married almost 50 years, but that's just that little story. You can make of it what you want to make of it. Well, anyway, this morning I want to talk about, I'll talk about this little thing real quick. Some people don't know that I believe that the Great Tribulation in Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, I'm not sure, is already fulfilled. The part where it's talking right here. I want you to listen to this. And except that the Lord shortened those days, no flesh shall be saved, but for the elect's sake, for whom he hath chosen. Get this, he has shortened the days, whom he has chosen. So, and then it goes to talk about all the things that happened in the sky and the things that happened, I believe, happened in the first century. But I believe there's two questions here. Two questions, at least two questions that he answered. It says, after he gets through telling about all these things, the stars fall from heaven, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers that are in the heavens shall be shaken. Something's happened, something in the heavens happened that people saw, I believe. But anyway, he gets down to this, and he says, there was two questions. There was a these things question, and then it was the end of the world question, I believe. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things, the these things question, you see what I'm saying, be done. That happened. If you read up before that, when shall these things be? But he's talking about, they want to know when the temple's going to be destroyed and all this terrible stuff. He said, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be done. You hear that? Then it says, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. Okay? That when he starts talking about heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away, he's heaven and earth pass. That's the second question, or one of them. It's not the same question as verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till these things be done. See, we can't ignore that. This generation, it's something that happened to the first generation. He wouldn't be trying to trick his disciples. He was talking about what was fixing to happen. Like I say in one of my other videos, he gave them a ballpark figure. But then it says, but on the heaven and earth passing away question, he gave, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, neither the Son, listen to that, but the Father. So I believe there were at least two questions there that he answered. And the first one was the these things question. I believe this is in our past. And the sun is still making its circuit unless I'm, like I say, some kind of amoeba in a video game. I go outside and I see the sun still going around. So I say that that the resurrection hasn't happened yet. The resurrection day hasn't occurred yet. What I'm talking about is the very last day. Ever how he winds things up, when it makes its final circuit around this, for the most part, level plane. And then, like I say, what I believe about the flat earth is, everybody's on there arguing about it, but in my mind's eye, at least the waters make a compass, a circle. At least that's going on. And then the four corners in my mind's eye is, I don't know, I might be wrong about this, but on the outside of there's four corners at least, going out past the part that holds the water in. That's my view on that. So, of course, we have a dome, a firmament, solid dome above our heads, and foundation and the pillars below the earth. This is my mind's eye. But we don't have to know all that stuff, People get on and they argue about it and everything. But that's my little view. It took just a couple of minutes to clarify that. Every time I see something I need to put in, I'm just going to bounce around and put it in one of these good morning things. Okay, I got another story is I got a letter in the mail one time. This was when I was real young, and we were meeting with some of these young fellas. We was assembling, thought we were worshiping God, but in spirit and truth, but we were just vain men. It was talking about, we got a letter in the mail that said, everybody that's a member over here will give, will tithe, and they'll tithe off of the gross of their salary. And of course, that was the end of that relationship. I mean, as far as meeting together with that group, because I wasn't the only one and they would, they got children. I believe, I don't know their heart. I'm still friends with them, I guess, in town here. But we all make our mistakes. But I found that I went hunting for it then when I got that letter, because I didn't like nobody twisting my arm. And especially when I had sick kids and people couldn't hardly afford nothing. We was with just me working in the cotton mill, and couldn't hardly put bread on the table. But anyway, I got to looking over here in 2 Corinthians 9, 2 Corinthians 9 and 7, and on down here where Paul was taking up an offering. Oh yeah, of course, these people that get on television and begging for money, they always give you their address when they bring up the thing, and they that's the only thing they like to bring over from the Old Testament. They bring that law over, but they leave all the rest on the other side, but they'll bring that one over. Every man according to the purposes in his heart, let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity. Well, it sure was a necessity that in that letter. But for God loveth the cheerful giver. See, when you make it a necessity, any kind of necessity in the New Testament, it's arm twisting, and the cheerful giver goes out the window. That's what this verse is talking about. Paul, not of necessity, not of necessity. They make it a necessity, see, a law. See. But that's not the way it is. The way I see it in the New Testament. I'll take it down here and I'll give it to the waitress that comes to and waits and is waiting on me, trying to scratch by. That's who I'll give it to before I give it to somebody talking like that. Well, anyway, I think I covered that. Yeah, I want to give you some information here. Anybody interested in the part about the Great Commission, there's a good piece, I believe, on the internet if you can find it. And it goes like this. To whom was the Great Commission given? I think that's what he calls it. And it's Elder Ralph E. Harris. I'm trying to look that up. He has a good piece. You have to read it about his view on the so-called Great Commission. And we call it so-called Great Commission. Elder Ralph E. Harris. And it's to whom was the Great Commission given? Look that up if you want to. Yep. And the Apostle Paul wrote, this is about salaried preachers, suppose, preachers. The Apostle Paul wrote to the Corinthians, brethren, what is my reward then? Verily that, when I preach the gospel, I make the gospel of God without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. 1 Corinthians 9:18. So you see, after I've seen a lot of abuse of this, so I don't believe in paying nobody to preach the gospel, preach what they call the gospel. I believe in people giving to God's ministers, the ones that God called preachers. I believe them giving freely out of love. Because anything else, like I say over there in the first, is compulsion or of necessity. And who gets the money is but anyway, when people that always hollering about this, they always going on retreats. They're always retreating, and resting, stuff like that. And poor other folks, they're working down in the cotton mill, if you know what I mean. But just thought I'd talk to you this morning. I got lots of other stuff to say, but I don't have about 30 or 40 seconds to say it. But enjoy all your comments. And we'll fix to get up here and go down in the country. Watch those grandbabies. Peace and love down here in Alabama. And y'all have a good day.